Are lifting deloads and or extended rest weeks worth it in the gym? Look, it is very common nowadays for people to be misciting studies when it comes to this. And essentially, what is a deload or what is kind of an extended rest week? Essentially, there's two options. Number one, you can completely avoid the gym from a resistance training standpoint. You can be swimming or jogging, but you can completely avoid resistance training for a set period of time, generally a week, 2 weeks, in that range. Or you can lift sub-maximally to about 50% of your maxes, but not going above that. So you're getting some blood flow into your muscles, but nothing straining. Those are the two options for deloads. Generally, when people are deloading, they're doing option one, where they're just not lifting at all for 1 to 2 weeks. And I do find the idea that you are going to gain more muscle over a year time frame by adding in a couple deloads. It just isn't how it works. Generally, what people do when they discuss this topic is they will cite studies saying that after a 2-week deload, the muscle growth you have in that first week of rebounding is more than you would have had if you would have lifted for 3 straight weeks. That is true, that third week where either you've been lifting for 2 weeks prior and then you lift a third week, versus the third week of the deload where the first week you're getting back into the gym, you will gain more muscle in the deload sense because you lost some muscle and you lost glycogen in your muscle and you lost swelling in your muscle. So you're gaining back to what you had before, and you might be getting a little bit past that. I'm not totally discounting the fact that you could take 2 weeks off of lifting and then lift for a week and then end up actually gaining more muscle than you had before. But you would gain more muscle if you lifted for 3 weeks. The efficiency might be higher with the deload and then 1 week, but the total amount of muscle you gained would be higher if you lifted for 3 weeks. If you had 3 weeks of stimulus, that is going to be better than 1 week of stimulus. Now, the 1 week of stimulus is going to have a higher efficiency. You're going to be gaining more muscle per workout because you are more sensitive to stimulus. But this would be the same thing as if you lifted 1 day per week versus 3 days per week. If you lifted 1 day per week, the efficiency standpoint, you'd be gaining more muscle per minute in the gym than you would be if you lifted 3 times per week. But the 3 times per week is still building more muscle as a whole. And that's when people are referencing this, they want to gain as much muscle as possible as a whole, in totality. Should I lift for 52 straight weeks, or should I lift for 4 weeks and take a deload, 4 weeks take a deload? That's the question. It's not what is more efficient. The 4 weeks on, 1 week off might be more efficient, but as a totality, it's not. You're gaining less muscle. Less muscle. Now, I would like to add something to this. Some people might take unintentional deloads. They go on vacation, they have an injury, XYZ, they can't lift for whatever reason, or they can lift, but they just don't want to. That's fine. Look, you don't need to lift. Nobody needs to lift. So if you're going to be on vacation and the closest gym is 45 minutes away, and you're like, man, that's going to eat up a lot of time, and I also don't have a membership, whatever, that's fine. You're not going to lose all your muscle if you take a week or 2 off the gym. You're not going to lose all your muscle if you have some sort of knee strain and you don't want to push it. That is totally fine. But when people are discussing this, they're acting as if, taking time off the gym is going to build muscle. No, it's not. You will gain it back when you come back, but that was 2 weeks spent gaining, you're losing muscle, but gaining 0 muscle. You gained 0 muscle in the time you took off.